So ever since I started the Mach 5 museum, one question I got asked a lot was, are there any reboots? And if there are, why did they fail? Well, I'm here to answer those and a lot more. Now, when talking about Speed Racer reboots, the one that comes to most people's mind is The New Adventures of Speed Racer. But before that was even thought of, Tatsunoko, the creator of Mach Go Go Go, or Speed Racer for us Americans, actually planned and designed a reboot. It was called M Thunder. Not much is known about this one. All we do know is that it was going to be completely different from the original and that we have concept art. The Mach 5, or M Thunder, as it was going to be called, now looked like a car from Initial D with some wacky gadgets, including a giant van. Speed himself looked pretty much the same with some new clothes. As for the others, it's a whole different story. I won't go deep into this because there's not much, but if you want to know more, there is a page on the Speed Racer wiki about it. So, with M Thunder cancelled and Speed Racer being played in reruns, cue in Speed Racer Enterprises. That's a video on its own. Speed Racer Enterprises teamed up with Fred Wolf Animations and created The New Adventures of Speed Racer, an American take on the classic anime. It reminds me of Captain Planet and TMNT. The plots were about the same too, and this is where the famous Speed Goes to the Future trope started. In this series, Speed is a young driver racing for Pop's motor company, Mach Research. Clever. In the first episode, we see Speed racing in the Mach 1.5. His opponent then causes Speed to crash, and Pop's car is all smashed up. Speed apologizes to Pops for wrecking his car, but Pops isn't worried. He then shows Speed that him and Sparky have just finished building the Mach 5, which is now a Dodge Viper-esque car. Besides the Mach 5, almost all of the redesigns are faithful to their original counterpart, especially Speed and Racer X. The only ones that you can tell are very Americanized are Spritle and Trixie. I can look past Spritle's design, but Trixie is a completely different character. She's basically Barbie in Speed Racer. The plots for these episodes are just as bland as Trixie is. Again, this show is future-based. Speed always ends up going against some alien creature, then eventually goes to the future and the past. Out of all 13 episodes, the only ones I can recommend are the Mach 5's first trial and the race against X. They're not bad episodes. They give you a taste of the rest of the series. New Adventures of Speed Racer was not well received, only running for one season. It's not a surprise we haven't seen an official DVD release. Surprisingly though, a good bit of merch exists, from toy cars, stickers, costumes, a pinball machine, VHS tapes, and a rug. There was other merch planned but cancelled for obvious reasons. So in conclusion, was this a faithful reboot? No. Should you watch it? That's really up to you. I suggest it for die-hard Speed fans or fans of 90s cartoons. It really fits that 90s VHS rental store kind of feel. So with the failure of the American reboot, one has to wonder, what was Speed's homeland doing? Mach Go 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 Restart, made by none other than Tatsunoko themselves. This takes on a futuristic take, but not in the way Speed Racer Enterprises did it. It's done in that 90s anime style. Speed is back driving probably my favorite rebooted version of the Mach 5. It captures the classic design and it updates it. I love it. The whole series was a big success in Japan, with over 30 episodes made, even though a full 52 were planned, but canceled last minute due to unknown reasons. Other than that, Restart was a hit. A ton of merch was made in Japan, a lot of it being rare today. While I adore this reboot, it does come with some changes to core characters. In the original, Speed's name was Go Mifune, now it's Go Hibiki. One thing that I didn't and still don't like is that Spritle is now Trixie's little brother. That's literally the only bad thing I can say about this reboot. It's good. It's damn good. The story is so faithful, yet so different, that it stands on its own. So if you want to watch this in full and subbed, Funimation offers it in their Bust Collector set, which is now $200 off on Amazon, so go get it. We need more Speed merch. Or order it from Japan on Blu-ray for Yeah, that much. Now, with the success in Japan, you can count on our boys Speed Racer Enterprises to bring it over and mess it up. They received the episodes and dubbed a random episode and called it Speed Racer Y2K. It didn't sell. You can find this episode online. This dub had a different cast than the final one, so it is interesting. It was also included in the Speed Racer Ultimate Fan Companion PC game. So, what now? Well, Speed Racer Enterprises tried again. Speed Racer X was born. I'm guessing that they took the name idea from Sonic X, so that's cool. Anyway, Speed Racer X was greenlit for 13 episodes, dubbed, and cancelled. Speed Racer Enterprises, seriously? This was your second chance. But don't worry, you'll get more. This, like New Adventures, also got merch. From Jack in the Box. That's it. No home release on DVD or VHS. We only have these episodes from VCR recordings on YouTube. In conclusion, do I recommend it? The Japanese dub, 100%. The American dub, no. Unless you want a good laugh. Speed Racer Enterprises back at it again with the reboots. This time it's Speed Racer Lives. Weird name, I know. But this wasn't your typical reboot. No, this was a Flash animated online only reboot, with the main characters being Speed Jr., the son of Speed Racer. Where have I heard that before? Speed also has a daughter, called Velocity. We never see her again. Speed Jr. drives the Mach 10. Speed Racer Lives was a collaboration with Art Asylum, the people who make the Mini-Mates, to make toys and a web series. There were a lot of toys planned and shown off at Toy Fair, but only the classic line made it to retail, but some stores got the Speed Racer Lives figures with the DVDs. The series lasted 6 episodes and were lost until 2017, when a YouTube channel called Speed Racer Lives uploaded the entire series. They're not good. Spritle is a dick, and Racer X is still young apparently. Also, Speed Racer Enterprises' favorite trope is back, future and time travel. It gets old. So, Speed Racer Lives. Would I recommend it? No, of course not. But if you want to laugh, then yeah, go watch it. I won't go too much into next generation because one, there's a lot to discuss. And two, it's more of a continuation than a reboot. All I'll say is, watch Season 1, forget Season 2 existed. Race to the Future! A direct-to-DVD reboot that no one knew existed. It's bad. Like, the worst thing Speed Racer Enterprises has ever done, and they've done some pretty bad things. This will also be its own video, but it's bad. Flash animation, future, and bad voice acting. That's it. No, I would not recommend it. And that's it. That's all of the reboots of Speed Racer to date. There weren't many, and it's not hard to see why. No one besides Tatsunoko can capture what made the original so great. All the other companies wanted to modernize it and make it hip and now, and it goes to show that doesn't always work. At the Cheese 9229 asks, are any up to par with the original, and are any of them good? The short answer, Mach Go 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 Restart. At Reviewer Guy 1 asks, how did the fans receive them at the time? For the American reboots, not very well, because none of them lasted more than a season. But for Japan, very well. And at S4 Spectre asks, why haven't we got a new one? The short answer is, companies are afraid to touch it, because of Speed Racer Enterprises. They hoard out the IP so bad that it was almost dead. But Tatsunoko has teased a reboot, so look out for that. In conclusion, if you're a diehard fan like me, then go watch them. But if you just want a faithful reboot, watch the 2008 movie. It's great and deserves a lot more hype. So, be sure to catch the next thrilling episode where I cover this thing. Oh boy.